The Tampa Bay Buccaneers dominated the Philadelphia Eagles today in an impressive victory. I think the score was 33-16, which the 16 points was, I don't even feel like they should have scored those. Like, it was just utter domination everywhere you looked. The only silver lining, I think, was Saquon Barkley every now and then looked really, really great. But he is probably only great piece on that team today because there's a lot of injuries there.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later. My question to you is, obviously, if the Tampa Bay Bucs play like this every week, can they beat any team in the NFL? And the 1A to that is, are you concerned that Baker Mayfield's thrown the ball 47 times?
I guess the answer to both is yes,
Okay.
with an asterisk to both of them. Yeah, Baker throwing it 47 times, not great. But this is Tampa Bay. They don't have a run game. They just don't. Now, they didn't need one today. Bucky Irving, 10 carries for 49 yards. Rachaad White, 10 carries for 49 yards. Bucky Irving had a touchdown. But this is when Tampa is good. When they're able to pin their ears back and Baker gets his mojo, baby, and he starts grooving, they can tear you apart. 30 for 47, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Baker was on fire. But when you look at Tampa overall, offensively, they're middle of the pack in the league. Defensively, they're middle of the pack in the league. I won't go into Philadelphia because we're going to talk about them in our touchdown or turnover segment, but I will give a little preview of that by saying Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown were both out. Like, I understand we can't give Tampa too much credit for stomping the Eagles when they didn't have a receiver. They didn't have a receiver, Ryan. If Tampa didn't have this performance, I would actually start to be skeptical. So, I almost look at this as okay, good. You did what you should have done on this game.
Yeah, they needed it this game because let me just read you until their bye week. Are you ready for this?
Hit me.
At the Falcons, at the Saints, the Ravens, the Falcons, at the Chiefs, 49ers.
Whoa.
That may be the toughest run in all of NFL for any football team.
That is crazy. And 3 divisional matchups. So at the at the Falcons divisional, at the Saints divisional, then you get the Ravens, Falcons divisional again, and at the Chiefs, then Niners, before you finally get a break with the Giants and the Panthers.
That's rough.
I just don't think they're good enough to survive that stretch.
No, if you don't have a run game, especially
because let's be honest, Philadelphia has not looked like a great team this year. At times they have, they're 2-2. But honestly, and I'm not trying to give the segment away, but if they had Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, this game looks very different. Tampa is just one-dimensional. They can beat bad teams if their defense is playing well when they don't have a ton of defensive injuries, but they just don't have a run game. And ultimately, if we're talking right now and trying to look big picture of who are real competitors, could Tampa win the NFC South? Yes. The NFC South is very competitive between Tampa, Atlanta, and New Orleans. Okay? It really is. But I would still favor Atlanta or New Orleans right now because I just think they're a more complete team. Regardless of how good you look in September, October, if you cannot run the football in December, then you're not going to make deep playoff runs. It really is that simple.
We don't have to wait till December. We'll find out here in just a couple of weeks when they face this gauntlet of teams.
Right.
If you can't run the ball on these teams, it's going to be a nightmare for you. And Baker may can throw for 50 or 60 times a game, but these defenses he's going to go up against, from the Falcons to the Saints to the Ravens to the Chiefs to the 49ers, they're a lot better than any other team you faced. What's their second best win? The Lions? Right? I mean,
and the Lions just gave the game. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tampa was good, but the Lions just made constant mistakes. The Lions were 1 for 7 in the red zone. So Detroit had opportunities in that game and just didn't capitalize.
And then you could say, well, the Commanders too. But the Commanders week 1 were not what they are week 4. A completely different team. Jaden Daniels has actually found a way to play football now and looks really good doing it. But their second best win is against the Lions. And by the way, they got beat by the Broncos.
Right. And that's another thing, too. I understand they had a ton of defensive injuries. But look, everyone has injuries. That's just where we are. We're at week 4 and we're week 5.
Everybody has injuries.
We're starting to get to the point where saying, well, they were really beat up isn't an excuse. And I know I said that for the Eagles, but I'm just saying Tampa did what they should do given the equal circumstances. So we'll find out really quick who Tampa is once they get through this stretch. I'm rooting for them because I really like Baker Mayfield. I've always been a big fan. I would like to see Tampa do well. But this is a gauntlet, and if you can't run the football, I just don't have a lot of faith they're going to win many of these games. We'll see. And you mentioned it. I know the injuries. I can't forget that Broncos loss. Like, I just can't wipe that from my memory where Bo Nix just walked the dog on them.